To Metamorphosis on the 27th day of July in the year of 2024 Anno Domini. There's a couple of things I just want to get off my chest. And it's relevant to, like I did an interview a couple of weeks ago with John, and I kept talking about how it's about a relationship. And he's saying that we're not going anywhere near any of that as far as a relationship is concerned. That's not what he's doing. That's not what the training is about. He's not making comments on it. That's very wise. And those are the kind of things of like why it's fitting that I can recognize a master and say, I'll put myself under this master. I will put myself under this man. Because of that kind of thing of recognizing where he will not go, the realm that he will not go into, the ground that he will not step on. And that is a signal of demonstrating the wisdom and the restraint. Again, the restraint, I really see it so profoundly. What John's saying about restraint is adding something, adding restraint. It's a phenomenal concept. Now, lastly, I want to say that Jackie demonstrated restraint, and the demonstration was phenomenal. A bit of a thing here. This person wanting to. We're talking about relationships. I don't tolerate road rage. I don't tolerate aggression. We'll allow that to be because we're moving. That would have been a perfect example of what I am talking about. If that person wanted to be aggressive towards me for not violating road rules, to go with that, I would have violated road rules. So what I would have done is kept the phone recording, pulled up, gotten out, had a little chat with that person, and met them where they are at. And the thing is, because we're in a relationship, we are in relationship with each other in life. So like we're making karmic agreements before we go on the road that we are going to be responsible, we're going to be sharp, we're going to be safe. Now, the reason why I pulled over and I started recording and then pulled back out and started driving again is because I want to talk about relationships and how the Nobbs Suzuki Praxis is not anything to do with learning how to have a relationship. Whether it's a relationship with yourself or a relationship with your lover or a relationship with your parents, or a relationship with your children, a relationship with a co-worker, or a relationship with a very lost, impatient, rude, unaware person who's still behind me. I mean, I could demonstrate this because this is the thing, but I'm not that person, okay? So I don't want to take this somewhere where I'm not. I'm just going, here's actually a really good example to get someone who is obviously very much like they're not able to see anything further past that, yeah? Here would be an opportunity to reach them. And it's just that thing of, oh, the splendor of sunburst breaking forth this day, whereon I may lay my hands once more on Helen, my wife. And yet it is not so much as men think, for the woman's sake I came to Troy. But against that guest proved treacherous, who like a robber carried the woman from my house. That's all you got to do to meet someone where they're at. And I feel like I just had a number of interactions today. What is it? It's 2:28 p.m. on Saturday. So since 1 p.m. Well, no, I think probably since about 11:30 a.m. I've just been in constant interaction with human beings, all different types of human beings. And prior to that, I was in interaction with human beings, but that seemed to be like a different part of the day somehow. There was like a change. Yeah. And what I really feel is so true, it's so real and so apparent, is that I have this ability to reach people where they're at while there's a lot of heaviness going on in the world. And it doesn't matter what's going on for me in my life, because I can just put that aside. I can put myself aside, and I can put whatever is going on in the world, in my world, aside, to meet somebody where they're at, to connect with them in a way that they feel heard and they feel appreciated. And I feel that is a vital skill, and it's a very rare, lacking skill. You know, like people think that we can do it. I think I could always been able to do that. You know, like I've always been able to do that. But what I'm saying to you now is I've only just learned how to really be able to do it. And it's something about knowing enough so you get to a point of realizing something about knowing enough that makes you feel more, and it makes you put aside what you think you know. It makes you reach people through feeling as opposed to knowledge. Knowledge is off-putting. People don't like that. Especially if they know that you know more than they know. And what's that do for me? Knowing more than what somebody knows? That doesn't really make the sun come up tomorrow morning, does it? In some ways it does. But being able to make people feel comfortable, to feel relaxed and to feel calm, to feel like they're seen and they're accepted and they're welcomed and they're valued and they're appreciated and they're valued and they're cherished for who they are, as they are, that they are, when they are, how they are, what they are. I feel like love is something that is not ever lacking, because that's our life force energy and it's what makes us exist. However, it seems to be very much forgotten. And when people are made to feel alive, even just by somebody acting and then someone being compelling. If I could be compelling and you can't look away from the screen, you know, then what grace is there in a simple knowing that somebody has seen us, somebody recognized us, somebody values us, because somebody appreciates us. Well, I appreciate you. Whoever you are, if you're watching this, then you know that I appreciate you as a human being. So, like there's a person who was trying to beat me to go into a congested intersection. So I appreciate that person expressing themselves from a point of impatience, from that point of imbalance, because what I get from that is the person expressed truly and freely in a manner that they were willing to let me see that side of themselves. And when I do drug rehab, and when I do PTSD work, or when I treat people of diseases and disorders that they don't want to admit to anyone else or themselves, it's about appreciating them for being who they are and being what they are, as they are, that they are, if they are, when they are, how they are, where they are. And John Nobbs and Jackie Carroll are actually the only people I feel have ever accepted me simply for who I am, where I am, how I am, that I am. I feel like every other person in some way has been conditional in some way. However, I've got this feeling like I know a guy called Nick Liddell, and he's a car broker. If you ever need to buy a car, look up this dude, Nick Liddell, if you're in Brisbane. He's a great guy. He'll give you the best experience of buying or selling a car you'll have. And I feel like maybe that guy actually has accepted me just who I am, as I am, in ways that others haven't. That's quite an interesting thing to come up with, you know, like, and it's not until like you say something so absolute, as in John Nobbs and Jackie Carroll are the only people that have that I feel have ever accepted me, given me that feeling of acceptance. And then because of that definitive statement, then that's given me a very clear viewpoint to say, well, hang on, maybe there is someone else. And you get really clear about it, so it's not like, oh, maybe there's a handful of other people that I'm not really giving acknowledgement, like, or maybe there's one other person. Does anybody else have that kind of inclination to consider that perhaps that is how it is for them? So you see how, like, that's the relevant point right there, to say, like, how to have a relationship. I'm talking about that. This is not something that John talks about or Jackie talks about, but it is very much about what we're in life, you know, like business. Someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, a dear friend said, business is just numbers, man. It's just numbers. You seem to overthink business. You seem to not be able to separate this thing with business. Business is just numbers. Well, it's not. That's not what it is. Business is relationships. And that's why I always did so well at business. But then I also have the other side of that coin, you know. Business is relationships. I'm just taking a detour now and putting myself out of my path to go and just stop somewhere, knock on the door and say, I'm checking on you. And I better just, that's what I'm doing here. I've come here now to check on you. That's what I'm doing. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. So, wrap it up now and vehicle is switched off. And I'll press stop. Cheerio.